Hey there, viewers. Welcome back to the Self-Made Auto Channel. Got the 2008 Nissan. It's a Frontier. It's got the big 4.0, and it has no low beams, and it's from the auction, so we don't know anything about it. Other than there's a whole lot of sin hiding underneath this thing, but that's a different story. Guy wants his low beams fixed. I looked at it for a little bit yesterday, and here's where I ended because I ran out of time and had to work on another car. Was I don't think I know for a fact we're not getting power out of the IPDM, the Integrated Power Distribution Module, aka the fuse box on the Nissan. I did not test the relay, but I went down there and see we had no power on both fuses for low beams. I verified obviously that the bulbs are there. And then I took the low beam relay out of the box and jumpered across the load side, and I'll be darned, lights lit up. So that tells us all the wiring from the distribution module to the headlights is good and the headlights work. But why isn't the relay turning on? That's what I want to know. Did I swap the relay? You betcha, because every relay in that row was exactly the same. So I just swapped it with the rear defogger. Didn't work. Had my test light in my hand. Obviously we have power on the load side because I just jumpered it. And we have power on the control side, but we don't have whatever turns the relay on, the ground side switching. So I wanted to get back on it today before I just don't want to go making a call on a almost $500 module. I want to verify it. Can we tell, are we receiving the input? Where does that input come from? I think the body module. But is there a way that we can verify, like, hey, we got an input, we got no output, So that's that. Let's see what we figure out. I usually don't like dragging you guys along after I've already, started a diagnosis. It removes that element of surprise. And then I have to be like, oh, I'm so surprised. And it doesn't sound genuine. So let's go in here. Let's just re-verify. Let me just kind of blow through my first steps that I did yesterday, or started to. I was in a bit of a hurry and I just want to make sure that I didn't make a mistake. So we're gonna go in here. I'm gonna let it do a fault scan. Now these Nissans, they take a little while. We're going to need a test light, so I'll get that while it's doing its thing. All right, looks like she's done. We're gonna go to report. We'll skip that. Let's see. Oh yeah, and the transmission's junk as well. So typical Nissan of this vintage, filled the transmission right full of antifreeze. Customers aware of that, of course, catalyst codes and other codes. We're skipping all that. We're going to be fixing the low beams for them. Body module, anything in the body module. Left pressure. Okay, so let's do this. Let's back out of here. So that's where we're at with codes. We're going to go into the body module. I believe this is what controls the output to that relay, and this is what I just want to verify. Yeah, headlamps. We're going to pick headlamp. We can go, let's go to special functions. No, let's go to active tests. Okay, we'll go headlamp. We'll select some data PIDs here. Okay. And then, well, we can turn on the high beams. Okay, high beam lights turn on. I can see them down here. They're glowing bright. Low beams, nothing. I can hear that high beam relay over there. Off. Okay, so switching from off to low, you can see me toggling it there on the bottom of your screen. Nothing. I hit high though, and I hear that click over there. And also on the inside of the vehicle, if we turn the headlights on, you would see these switch statuses change. I can do that for you just so you see. You always want to make sure that your data PIDs are live. So there's the headlights on, high beam. Oops. Oh, that's interesting. How come, well, let me take this with me. It's like, how come the dang headlights aren't turning on? So that's interesting. I'm flicking the high beams on and off. turning the headlight switch, marker lights, full on, high beams, back off. What's interesting is when we're in this bidirectional control, and we have it as off down here in the bottom right hand corner, that it does not override it and turn the headlights on. So let me escape out of that and turn the headlights on. Yeah, so they work as so long as we're not in the bidirectional control. That's kind of curious. Usually, you know, a manual input will override whatever you're doing on your scan tool, typically, but sometimes, but not always. So there is that. We don't have low beams when we're using the switch. We don't have low beams with bidirectional control. So, and then our live data isn't really useful. There's not a lot other than what we were just looking at with our headlight stuff. It doesn't show that the what do I want to say, that the body module is putting out a low beam signal, at least with Autel and the data that we can read here, which is pretty limited. And there is no codes for anything low beam related. So that's pretty much all we can do with the scan tool. Let's pop into service info. I already put the bin in, and passwords and all that stuff. What did I say? This was an SE. We'll use this vehicle. Let's go into the wiring diagram and see what we can learn here. We'll go headlights. This is without DRL. So we're going to come down here. Okay. So we can see right here, this is our headlight switch. Not really useful how it's labeled inputs and outputs. And then this is, you know, our body module. But you see how the diagram on the body module, you see, well, take a look at this optical sensor. See how it's got a dark black line all the way around it, but the body module has a dotted line around it. That means that the diagram is incomplete, okay? It's not the full picture of the body module, just FYI. How about we do this? We need to find the low beam and see what does it take to turn this relay on. Okay, so here we go. Here's our low beam. I don't know why I can't enhance, because I didn't say it, enhance. There's our low beam relay. And based on what I've already told you, fuse 41 and 40 don't work. They don't turn on. But if we jumper the load side of the relay, it does turn on. And we'll go there and check that. But what does it take to turn it on? Well, it's internal. Okay. You can see right here the CPU, and then we look at HLP low, headlamp low. And that little black trace goes over, and that runs the control side of that relay. So how does it know when to turn that on? And that's where I got yesterday. Oh, interesting. Okay, never mind. We don't need to check an input because there is no input. It comes over these two little guys, the pink and the blue, the can high and the can low. Well, that pretty much ends this diagnosis pretty darn quick. Ain't that some stuff? Okay, I was thinking, or I guess I should have probably poked at this before I started making a video. That's that in a dime sack, because there's nothing more to do. That is the input. It receives a message over the can. Let's go back to diagram 1. Pins 1 and 2. We run, that's over here on the right hand side of your screen, pins 1 and 2. That comes from the other diagram, the pink and the blue and the pink. And that comes right from the body module. Simple as that. Okay, we need we need a new IPDM. I could pop this out and show you. Actually, I brought my little jumper here, but I don't feel that I need to prove it to you that if we just jumper the low beam or the load side of that relay, the low beams turn on. And We don't, you know, people might question like, what about an input from the headlight switch? That doesn't matter either, because we don't have bidirectional controls with the scan tool. So we can very quickly eliminate the input from the switch. We can eliminate, do we have to go and check the CAN wires on that IPDM? No, we don't, because it buses a lot of messages to that IPDM. Is there, just out of curiosity here, I just want to see control units. Let's see here. Oh, can we talk to this IPDM? Can we see inputs to that? One thing I never did. Let me put the glasses back on here. Let's go to active tests. Let's see what's in there. External lamps. Headlamp washer, front wiper. See tail lamp. Headlamp low. Okay, let's hit that. Okay, high beams work. Oh, I see it. It's toggling them. I don't know. Well, you guys can't see it because you're not pointing down here. Let me do. Oh, okay. This one does not have fog lights. No, low. Okay, turned on the marker lights there when I hit tail. Interesting, it doesn't toggle those, but it toggles the high beam. Okay, so that's curious. Let's just go to live data. Let's see. Let's go to all signals. Do we have, oh, okay, headlamp low request. Well, look at this. This is going to make things easier. Anything else we want to look at? Yeah, because if this thing's receiving a low request, shoot, that'll make the process pretty easy. All right, let's go turn the headlight switch on. Oops. Oh, look at that. That's high beam, low beam, high beam, low beam. Well, there you go. That's pretty cut and dry. I don't work on enough Nissans to shake a stick at, so I didn't realize that we could just jump right in there and look at that, or I wouldn't have made this silly video. So it's receiving a low beam request. It says the low beams are on. Robert's your mother's brother. We know the output from there is good. At least I do. And that's it. So this is basically, with a little bit of information that we gathered, this is the driver's seat diagnosis. Gather this information, come out, make sure the load side is good out to here, and then make the call. So let's finish that off. Let's pretend we didn't know, and we've just done all of this sitting in the driver's seat, which is plausible. All right, we see all these inputs. Bidirectional controls don't work. Let's verify that our load side does, and if it does, it can only be that power distribution module. I guess we don't need our test light. Which one was it there, Rocco? I know it was on this bottom row. I think it was this one. Let's pull that little guy out. Standard 4-pin relay. Let's see if I'm right. We're going to jumper the load side of this, which is just your two big wires. The big ones. Stick that there. I see a spark. Oh, look, the headlights are on. Let me show you. So there's our low beams, and then I just pull the jumper wire out, and the low beams go out. So that's all you need right there. Probably, well, it's still a fused circuit, so I guess you don't even need to fuse that. Stick this back in. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. Gather the info. We have the inputs. No output, has to be the box. I already checked with Nissan. I called Nissan this morning just to get an idea what that costs, about almost $5. Plus they have an update where you have to buy the new lid. So I don't know if it's a different size, you know, because why, you know, what would this have to do with the price of tea in China, as they say? I don't even know what that means, but that's just something people say. But it states that you have to have a new lid. Is it because it has the fuse designations are incorrect? You know, that I don't know. Let me look up, see if Wilbert, you pull it. Not a sponsor, see if they have one of these down there. Because like I say, this truck is pretty rough otherwise. And if we can just go get a used one, great. If we can't, then I'll just quote them on the new one. So let me check and see what they have. It's tender time. They have one Nissan Frontier there, the 2011 variety. I did check with Hazelton Nissan out of Rochester, New York. Not a sponsor. Gave them the VIN off from mine, gave them the VIN off from the one down there. And I'll be dipped if the one down there has the IPDM in it. It is not only the correct one, but it is also the updated one. So we'll have to grab the lid and the IPDM, assuming it's in there. So let's go find out. We got the list, which only includes one, row 20. Every time I come here, it's always row 20, which means they should call it row 40, because it's all the way in the back 40. We do need to make a stop by row 11, according to my notes. It should be this way. Looking for a front seat out of a Chrysler 300. We got one in the shop that I think is going to need a seat. So I just, or parts for the seat, lower seat frame, something like that. So I'd like to see what they have. Whoa. Pretty ambitious to do that. Well, row 11 here, they must be exchanging, wiping cars out, sending them through the crusher, but there's a 300 there. Ooh, fancy. 2016, tell me she got black leather, baby. Oh, sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Just be exactly what I need. That was exactly what somebody else needed. Alright, let me take a picture of this VIN number, because if we need that, wow, you know the sucky part is if we need this, can we even get it? Because the freaking seat's got no power. We'll have to find a way to sneak a battery in here to power up the seat, which shouldn't be a problem. Let me just get some pictures of this thing, grab the VIN number. Alright, we're almost there. Row 20, I think it's the very last row. Far away from the entrance as you can get. Well, I'm assuming it's this little guy right here. I said it's the only one. Assuming it's probably gone too, but oh, well, let me put the lid up here. Everything else is MIA. Alright, come on, big money, no whammies. Here's the new lid. Has a lot less writing on it. Kind of weird. Boom. IPDM. So this thing looks totally different than the one that's in the vehicle. Of course you can't see because everything's blacked out. I called Hazelton Nissan Rochester, not a sponsor. The part number on this lid is the updated part number. The part number on this is the updated part number, so it should work. However, somebody robbed the fuses out of it. So I'm gonna come over here to this car and rob these fuses with a little Subaru something or other. I'm going to go through, fill in the fuse slots that are missing, so with a little bit of luck this thing will work when we plug it in. Alright, I got it reloaded with fuses. Had to visit about 5 different cars. Everybody steals fuses, I think, and the fuses, a lot of the fuses were wrong, but well, let's hope it's right. What's this truck doing here? Was she Southern? The doors on this thing. Wow. Boy, somebody'd do good to find this sucker. Huh. Sick. Here we go. There it is. Here's the new one. Does not look anything like the old one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6, 7. I don't even know what that means. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, well, let's unplug the main power. This one we have to be a little more civilized with. Unplug the main brain. There's that one. Alrighty folks, here we go. So here's how they look in comparison, side by side. Less relay, so probably some integrated action into this one. Alright, well, should we do it live? A couple extra pins, a couple missing pins, I don't know. The whole thing just doesn't really settle well with me. How about this? How about we plug in the power? Please don't smoke anything. I double checked, triple checked with the VIN. This is supposed to be correct. This is supposed to be the updated box. Tell you what, one thing we should do is we should have this negative battery terminal ready to come off. In case we plug it in, we see, then we can just unplug it real quick. I don't know why I'm super worried, because had we bought it OEM, we'd just plug it in and pretend everything was good, even though it looks vastly different. I'm just going to unhook the negative. Of course, it had the old classic beer can shim. I don't know if it's a beer can, but we'll have to save that, because that's the only way that's going to fit again. Alright, well, battery's unhooked, so let's just go for it. Let's just give her all she wrote. The whole enchilada, as they like to say. Everything plugs in, that's good. Everything is completely plugged in. Now, you do what I call the Sparky test. Alright, no big sparks. Now you smell for smoke. I don't smell smoke. We do need to get the beer can shim. Classic move. Stick that on there. Wedge her down in. Perfect. We're still going to leave that loose just in case the SHTF, or SHTF, yeah, or the sugar hits the fan. I am going to cut the key in the on position. You stay here in case something epic happens. Well, the key is on, the truck does not run. However, we have high beams and low beams. Let me show you. All right, so that's good. at least we fixed the problem and created a problem. I think I'm a total ding dong. I think I left 3 fuse slots open. I thought it was a relay holder. Okay, fuse 15, 16, and 17 are fuses I didn't replace. And a 15 is 15, a 10, 15, 10, 15. All right, grab these out of my bag O fuses. 15 is a 15 amp. My little pliers here. The other thing I didn't do is when I was yanking fuses, I don't like that 15 amp. That's one of the dollar store ones. When I was yanking fuses at the junkyard to put in here, and then so that's 15 is 15. Number 16 is a 10 amp, and then this 15 amp fuse. You gotta be careful. You cheap fuses are no good. I'm gonna throw that one in the garbage. Get a real fuse. I guess what I was saying is I never verified the fuses I put in weren't blown. Fuse number 17, it's a 15 amp. Boom. Wonder if she runs now. Let's find out, baby. Sick. Well, that's super exciting, am I right? And how does this go down in there again? That goes like this. And this wire clip, which wasn't on the original one. I don't remember taking that off, did I? I took it off the junkyard one. Let's stick that back in there, because if he goes to the car show, we don't want points deduction, although there's going to be a points deduction because of the medley of fuses that we stuck in there of various levels of corrosion and opacity. Because you'll get judged on fuse opacity, okay? All right, that's clicked in, it fits. We have the new lid. However, I'm gonna save somebody some grief, because you know darn well, ain't none of that matching what's in the book, so we'll make a note here. IPDM is from, kind of hard to write in this box, A 2011. Run out of room. IPDM from a 2011 Frontier. That will save somebody some aggravation. I would appreciate something like that had I been the one to discover this mess. Okay, we're locked and loaded, boys. Let's tighten up this battery cable. We'll keep this on because we're going to be going back today, I'm sure. It's a double Wilbert's day. I don't think any better than that, does it, boys? I'm going to fire it up for real. Going to let the fault scan rerun. Of course, we had the battery in hook, so a lot of stuff's going to be reset. That's really great. That's going to save this customer a few hundies on a truck that's not worth a whole lot, so that's good. Because he's going to have to be putting a transmission in this thing. While we're waiting for the scan, let's admire those headlights again. He'll be happy about that because that's the main problem he wanted fixed. Right. Looks like we're doing pretty good. According to this, we're all green, boys. Well, so you can drive it. And that, folks, is that. There's nothing more to say or do. The guy's got his headlights working. All it needed was a new main brain. Fortunately, on these Nissans, at least these older ones, they don't store the mobilizer data in there. And even if they did, I think we could do that with the Altel, according to my resources. And the other thing that's great is Wilbert's Happened to wear my Wilbert shirt today. What is the chances of that? I should have known it was a sign when I put it on this morning. And yeah, and they saved the day because, like I say, this thing, you know, customer pay on it is darn near 500. It was the upper fours, I think. It was up there pretty good. So yeah, and then we got it for next to nothing, and then yeah, he has to pay for my time going down there, but it's a fraction of the cost of what the new one would be. And like I say, the truck needs a lot of other work. He's going to throw some farm tags on it because, you know, it won't pass inspection. Cause, you know, money lights on. It's got problems with the EVAP, problems with the transmission, problems with the converters, and, you know, so, and it's just used to drive around in the farm fields up and down, you know. I think with farm tags, you're allowed to be like 25 miles from your farm, something like that. It doesn't need to be inspected. It'll be registered, but this truck will just be used for, you know, beating through the fields, carrying a fuel tank and, you know, filling up equipment. So that's that, you know, brakes on it or shot. It's a typical auction vehicle. So no big surprise. The good thing about it is it's not rotted in half. It must have come from the south somewheres. You know, when yeah, no, the windshield was broke on the last one I worked on. Sorry, I was going to start spitting facts here, but anyhow, the fact is that I can spit is that I want you to go down there in that comment section. Leave me a comment. Find me on the Insta. Find me on the Facebook. And just my reviewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.